everyone, it's Tiny Games here. Welcome back to the channel. I'm here today with kind of like almost a tutorial-esque video, kind of like a guide video or a tips video, I guess you could say. Unfortunately, it has started storming in my valley just as I went to record this, which is lovely. Anyway, I thought I would showcase a couple of tips and tricks or ideas of things that I guess were things that I just assumed was kind of commonly known, but it makes sense. Just because I know something doesn't mean someone else knows something. And likewise, just because someone knows something doesn't mean I know it. That's for sure. That is for sure. But I was on Reddit the other day. I'm not often on Reddit. I am sometimes. I occasionally post over there and occasionally have a bit of a scroll through and stuff. When I saw this post about someone talking about the fences, specifically the ancient bamboo fence and a little trick you can do with that in terms of making it look a bit more prettier and aesthetic. Now, those that have been on the channel a little while and sort of pay attention in my videos will have noticed I've actually done this trick before. I did it in my botanical garden build, and I've actually done a similar trick as well in one of my Forgotten Lands builds as well, but with the like iron fencing. So you'll know that I'm all about doing little tricks with like the fencing and everything like that. It's something I've done a few times on the channel. So I want to kind of go through a couple of the different style options that you can do with fencing. So why don't I come over here? I've already set it up. Prepared and go through some of the things that you can do. So we'll start with the white picket fence. I might as well go in order. So the white picket fence, typically when you place it down, tends to look like this. You spread it out and then eventually you'll get a medium post and you can continue it and stuff like that. But there's a couple of other ways you can change the design of it. So one of the options is just to place them down individually, and then you get this effect. And then the other option that you can do is actually to place them down, spread them out by one. I probably shouldn't have done it that way. And then what you do is you grab another fence post, place it down, spread it out by one, and cancel. Grab another fence post, spread it out by one, and cancel. And then you get this little effect where there's only like one smaller pointed picket fence in the sequence. So this is another thing that you can do with the fencing just to make it look a bit more different. I like doing stuff like this because I really feel like it adds a uniqueness to your builds. Now this one here, we've got the iron fence in here. So this is typically how it looks with like the spikes in the middle. And then of course you can just individually place these down so that you get this sort of effect with the just the brick pillars. Now this is what I used in my Forgotten Lands build, was actually ordering them like this. And then the other option is that you have basically this kind of setup where I've messed it up. Basically, you put a piece down and then you spread it out by one again. And then you put a piece down and you spread it out by one again. And then you get like just like a shorter metal divide between the fence posts. Then we come to the bamboo fencing, which as you can see kind of just looks like this. And what's I guess a bit more unique about these two bamboo fencing is that you don't get like just the regular poles next to each other. So for instance, when I place down the metal spike fence, you get this big square post. But when it comes to the bamboo fencing, you actually get a join already. So this is the style that you can get when you place these down individually. But another thing you can do is spread them apart just by one. And then what you get is you get this shorter like pole stump in the middle. And again, then you just place a pole down, spread it out by one, and then you get that. So it's very similar to how this fence is, but just on a like a smaller panel basis. So that's what you have there with those. And it's the same on this bamboo fencing here, is that you spread it out and this is how it looks. It all goes lower down. You've got these wide panels, or you can place the green bamboo fence down individually and it looks like this. So again, all these poles, they're at the same height. Or what you can do is you can place a pole down, spread it out by one. I mean, you can do it by two, but then it's looking a lot more like the standard fence. Spread it out by one, so you've got the one shorter pole, and then you've got the larger on either side. Again, you have the same with this metal fencing. These fencing types are the same, just slightly different colours. When you place them down individually, this is what they look like. So they do get that wire mesh fence in between. Or what you can do is you can place it down and spread it out by like one, so that you then get the slightly wider what do you call it, like chain link between them, but then you get this lower post instead of with the individual where you get like every post is the same height. Next one here, we have this like wooden fence. I know a lot of people like this dark wood fence and everything. So again, this is it stretched out. It just kind of like has the shorter poles in the middle, or you can place it all individually so they're all the same height, a lot closer together. Or again, you can kind of do it this method where you stretch it out by one, get a lower pole, and then you have the two larger poles either side. Now, when it comes to the brick fence, the brick and iron fence, we have a couple of different things that you can actually do. So you can place them down individually like you have here, where every post is pretty much the same. If I move that out the way, so we have like a little joining at the bottom here with the metal. Every post is the same sort of size. But then we also have this method here, which actually involves here, I'll actually have to get another one. So you place another one down by its side, so we're looking very similar to this build, but then you stretch it out by one. And when you stretch it out by one, you actually get this like almost smaller sized post. It is angled slightly different. It's a bit thinner. So again, it just adds a bit more texture to it. I do prefer this over this layout where it's just the same block in a row. But this is pretty cool. And then again, you've got the regular fence, which you can just stretch out here. Or you can sort of do another fence style where you do it like this and you just stretch it out by sort of, instead of placing down one and stretching by one to get this interesting brick effect, you then stretch it out again and then you get this little section here. And again, you can just sort of place fence posts if you wanted here, so you can have the two brick next to each other, or you just do it like this where you connect on. So there's a lot of cool different tricks you can do with the iron spike and brick fence. I really think it has a lot of versatility. Now moving on to the fence post that was used in the actual Reddit post. So this is the one that I used in my botanical garden build. This is the bamboo fence just stretched out. It does have this like cool detailing with these ropes, and I want to say they're like little pouches. I don't actually know what these are meant to be, but they do look like little pouches and stuff like that. And in and of itself, when you stretch this fence out, it has a lot of different details and looks and things like that. But as you can see, when I shorten it down, if you have the individual fence posts, when you use them like this, you can get this more formal structured effect, which I actually really, really like. I think that's pretty cool. Or you can obviously stretch it out and then get this like detailed look. Now, for this fence post down here, this is effectively it being stretched out, but only so far. So you only go by one, and then you stop, and then you grab another fence post, add it on, stretch it out by like two, and you stop. So you can sort of control to a degree how the fence post looks just by how much you spread out a fence post before you add on a new one from the menu. So that's what we have here. And likewise with this fence post. Now this fence post is one that you craft from the time bending station, and there's a few different effects you can have. So this is it pulled out quite wide. We have this like sort of free segment part of the fence. You can have it be sort of more of an individual segment. So we've got this larger piece here and this more kind of square piece. And then this is with the two bits a bit closer together combined. So you can see here, depending on how far you pull out the fence, you get different kind of shapes and structures and things like that. And if you want to keep a certain segment, a certain set of structures, like for instance you want the 3 piece here, but then the next piece you want to be like a 2, you just have to grab one from your inventory, place it down. Oh, it helps if you grab the right piece. Place it down, and then you can get this kind of like different effects and stuff like that. So you can really structure this how you want it to look. Or you can just pull it all from a row and it will just dictate and choose to you how it looks. So that's always one thing to bear in mind. Just have a play around and see what you can come up with. And then we have our individually placed elements here. So this is like a more of a like a metal pole, I guess you could say, kind of fence style. And then this was me showing that you could, like, for instance, if there was a specific shape that you liked, like for instance you like this structure, all you have to do is pull it out that amount of times, click cancel, and then grab your next fence post from the menu, and then again just kind of pull it how you want. So for instance, this row could all be 1 segment, then this row could all be 2, and then for instance you could do like a 3 segment structure and stuff like that. So that's the different like techniques that you can do with the fencing. We do also have this fencing, but I don't think there's a lot you can really do with this. Because the structures are very set when you craft this. So you do have the regular poles, so you could always line these up if you wanted. I did actually do something similar to this when I built Gaston's house, which I did on a stream a while back, and I actually placed a couple of these together just to create a bit of a different look. And then again, you can kind of like add these pieces on so that you've got the fence, or you can add it onto, for instance, we've got this piece which is got the poles on both sides, and you can join it that way. Or for instance, you could do this and then just have the fences like that. But this structure is a lot more rigid because these pieces don't change. So you are a lot more sort of restricted in the different styles you can do. So yeah, that's basically it. I'll take a little walk around here so you can see what it's like. all these different structures that you can create. It's definitely worth having a play around with fencing like this, because I do think it adds a lot of unique textures, and it's a great way of getting different style fencing with basically the same fencing that we have in game. Like we have this one structure and you can get like 4 different styles of fencing using the same materials basically, and again with this wooden one as well. So I definitely recommend having a play around with the fencing structures and everything like that. It's a lot of fun to do, and you can create, like I said, a lot of unique textures and styles with your decor. So let me know in the comments down below, have you used any of these tricks when building fencing in your valley? Are there any other tips and tricks that you think are handy to know? Make sure to share them in the comments down below. But yeah, I hope you found this video informative. I hope it helped showcase some of the different things you can do with fencing, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye guys!